know it's been a while, but welcome back to the Mastour Debatours podcast. Today, joining me, we have JCC once again. Say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
Yes, and of course we have GardieFIFA, aka Sam. Say hello.
Hi, everybody.
And guys,
Hello.
Today we are giving our EPL predictions as well as reviewing a couple of transfers, especially, hashtag Pogba, as well as reviewing the Community Shield. But before that, I want to go ahead and give a little bit of shout out. Sam has already done a prediction video, so if you want to go ahead and check out what he predicted a little bit more detail, just click on his faces. In fact, click on everybody's faces right here at any time. Go ahead, and I'll also leave cards up there for you guys on mobile to go ahead and click right now. Go ahead and click on their faces, go to their videos, and check them out. And one more thing before we get started is, Sam, if you want to play against us, we're all playing in a Fantasy Premier League, and Sam is the guy who's heading it up. So we'll go ahead and leave a link to that as well as the code to go ahead. If you want to go head-to-head with us, good luck, because we're really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get into it, guys. We'll start off with the Community Shield. Ooh, what a game, or kind of a terrible game. JCC, how did you feel about the entertainment value that was brought to us in the Community Shield?
Yeah, I know. It's like a little preseason game with a trophy at the end. But I thought that we got the job done. We won a trophy, and the players pretty much all performed. I mean, we'll get into that, but they showed what they can do, and we won it in typical Man United style, which was good to see. We won the game late on, exciting, but yeah, it lacked a little bit of quality, but that's expected, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Sam, how did you feel about the game?
I don't know. It was kind of like just players just trying to get through the motions. Like, it wasn't anything special. It's not the final product, but also it's a week away from the Premier League kicking off, so you're hoping that. I mean, the lineup is, I assume we're never going to see that exact same lineup ever again. So I'm assuming with better players in there, and I think we'll be okay. I don't think it was anything to take on. I think if we face Leicester in the league, it could be a different game completely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I remember speaking to you. I had missed half of the game. I watched it back later, and you were saying, like the opening lineup was pretty much Mourinho didn't want to risk injuries. It felt like that. I don't know. Yeah. It was also kind of weird that like Juan Mata came on and then he was off in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes for Mkhitaryan at the very end. But there were a lot of really big name debuts, a lot of transfer headlines that they made their first official debut, and the big one was Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's the one who kind of grabbed the headlines by scoring the goal, but at the same time, his play, he didn't get all too much to do. But how did you feel about the debut of the big Swede? Sam, will throw it to you.
Well, the thing with Ibra is that's kind of his play style. It's very relaxed. He doesn't really chase the ball down. So I wasn't really surprised with what I saw when he wasn't really getting involved. His first touches were like, some of the things he was doing was just like, it looked like he was just joking around out there, like trying to do backheel touches and stuff, which probably isn't always the best, but it is Ibra, and he does pull them off 80% of the time. So he was just sort of playing his game, really. Like, he wasn't trying too hard, and that's just Ibrahimovic for you. And to be honest, having a striker like that is probably not the worst thing, because Rooney seemed to always drop deep and then we wouldn't have a striker. It's always good to have someone up there, someone with a bit of size. He held up the ball pretty well when he had it. And overall, I thought it was pretty much what I expected from Ibrahimovic. He got a goal, which I wasn't expecting. So there you go.
Yeah, and what a goal indeed. I totally agree with you, man. Like, when I saw him trying the flicks and kind of like the little bit of trickiness to hold up the ball, I was like, yes, this is what we've been needing for a while. And he's not going to hit all of them, and he got caught in possession maybe once or twice. But when it does work out, he's going to be playing in, a pacey player on the right, a pacey player on the left, which we finally do have, like a Martial or a Rashford, when he actually connects with those types of like trickiness. So I could see the seed of, the ideas that can definitely blossom into, tasty fruit later on in the season. JCC, how did you feel? How did you feel about the big debut?
I totally agree. I think the biggest thing for me, because I won't echo what Sam just said, but like, he looked happy, and a player of that quality, if he's happy, then anything's possible. Like he looked relaxed, he looked happy, even though it wasn't like going as well as he wanted. Like he would have wanted a goal maybe a bit earlier. He never looked panicked, really. I mean, obviously signs of frustration a little bit, but I think a happy Ibrahimovic is an Ibrahimovic that you want up front at your club. So that is very exciting for Man United this season, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen an angry Ibrahimovic up front, and that's pretty good too. So I'm just happy any Ibra up front is good for me. I think he didn't get too much to do. He's going to need service to be effective, this season. I was a little bit concerned about that because last year we couldn't find a decent cross to save our lives. So we'll see. But Valencia delivered. He had a nice little cross in. He's been looking good in preseason. On the likes of...
It was a good cross, but I mean, who else would have scored that? Does he even need a good cross?
No one.
Rashford is a brilliant player. Rooney's a brilliant player. None of them are going to score that. That is just his quality coming through. And if a ball even goes within his sort of, radius, like six yards or whatever radius, he can just get anything on it. And that's the quality he has.
That's a very good point. And I think that something that we haven't mentioned is that the thing about Zlatan that separates him from other strikers, maybe even in the Prem, besides maybe hold Aguero, is when that moment arrives, those big player moments, he's going to take his chance and he's going to score. And we saw it right there. He had like 3 chances all game. And of course he rises above, knocks out, bowls over one of the strongest defenders in the Prem and gets the header to score the game. He's going to take it. When the moment is there, he's going to take it. And that's very exciting to go ahead and see. But hopefully, the additions of Mkhitaryan, Paul Pogba can actually get him a little bit of service. And I think Ander Herrera, he can turn in. He's a pretty good crosser too. So hopefully with those supporting cast around him, as you said, even if it's a little bit off, he can, make it work, I guess. What are you guys' predictions for him in all competitions goal-wise this season?
He'll get definitely over 20.
Ooh,
I think.
Over 20.
I think he'll get over 20.
I think that's the over-under, Sam. Are you going over or under 20?
In all competitions, we have Europa League. I'm going to say over, because I think he'll get probably 15 in the league. So so if he can make up 5 in other competitions, if he's going to be playing other competitions, then he could get over 20.
All right, yeah. I mean, very hopeful. Of course, we are Manchester United fans, so we're going to be a little bit of the homer. But I think a little bit of the talk on Twitter about him being totally washed up is a little early.
I don't buy that.
Yeah, he seems like he still has a season left in him. So I'm going to go with you guys. I think it's going to be close because I'm not very convinced that he actually plays in Europa. I don't think so. Or in
the cups.
Or the cups, exactly. So, the 95% of, I think, of his goals are going to be coming in the league. So to say that he has to be scoring like 18 goals, which I can see, on a good day. And I don't know. With Pogba in there, it kind of changes like the equivalent of things. So we'll see. Now, another big money. Well, actually, all of our signings were big money signings. But the young Ivory Coast man himself, Eric Bailly. What did you guys feel? How was he against a very, very dangerous opponent in Jamie Vardy, JCC? Did you think he did all right? Did you think he was nervy at times?
No, I thought he was pretty confident. But he showed probably, I don't know, it can be taken either way. He was a little bit reckless. I think he could have had a bad day if the ref had felt like it. Maybe he got a lot of little fouls, niggly fouls that. Like if you get them in the Premier League, that's fine for the Premier League. It does suit it, but they're going to build up and stuff. And eventually, my prediction is he's going to get at least 2 reds this season. But saying that, we used to have Vidic who used to do that. And wow, what a player he was. So I really, really liked him. I really liked him. He looks like he fit in really well straight away into the team. Like little things when like De Gea caught the ball and he's like jumping all over De Gea. Like that's like something that maybe a new player.
A little moment, yeah.
Do you know what I mean though? Like a new player might not do that straight away, but he fits straight into that sort of team spirit, which is good to see. And some nice tackles. That big tackle on Vardy was nice to see. And I think he probably would have had a clean sheet if Fellaini didn't exist. So.
More on him later. But Sam, you were when we chatted about that, you said that he felt like he was a little bit reckless. How did you feel about him?
I thought he was reckless because on a different day he those reckless challenges he misses and Vardy's through, or any striker's through, right? It's not worth your centre back going in and not winning the ball. But he was pretty confident in his ability. He backed himself and he was getting the ball. So as far as that performance, I can't really knock it because he was really good. His pace and his strength and everything. But on any day, he misses one of those challenges, one of those slides, and he's out of position and you're left with whoever the other centre back is. In this case, it would have been Blind. 1-on-1 with a defender, or 1-on-2 with two attackers coming at us. It could end differently. So I like the recklessness when it pays off, but it's just a matter of how often is it not going to pay off, and it's going to cost us.
Yeah, definitely. I echo both of you guys' sentiments, and he was reckless. He got unlucky at times too. Like, he did get nutmegged that one time, and then when he came for the challenge, it kind of bounced up and sat up for the striker again. And he was bowling into players, which you don't like to see, into the back of players, and a lot of people are going to scout that, and he's probably not used to that. That's happens a lot more. So, you know, JCC, what you said about the yellow cards and the red cards piling up, it could be a problem. But at the same time, I really loved his athleticism. Like, he was quick enough to keep up with Vardy, which not many center backs can really do. And I really liked his composure. Even though he is a little bit reckless with his athleticism and his tackles, there are moments that when he's on the ball, he's not struggling with it at all. He knows where he's going with it. And there was one moment near the end of the match where Vardy was like, I think it was Vardy was bearing down on him, and he had the ball, and then he just like flipped it up over the top of him, over his head. And I was like, all right, well, you know he has, he's got confidence. He's got moxie, this kid, at least. So for that, I think he's going to need a couple of years to season, to learn the league a little bit. But after that, we could have something pretty, pretty spectacular on our hands. I look at him, I mean, it's easy one-to-one comparison. He's kind of like the Kurt Zuma, but, of Man United, a good young guy who's a little bit raw. But Zuma's pretty phenomenal, hopefully he recovers from his injury. But before that, he was turning into something pretty darn good. So we'll see how he goes. Now, JCC, about this Fellaini character, who do you think was the worst player on the day for Manchester United?
Yeah, I've said it before. I don't know why he's there. I can only think he's still at the club because Mourinho's got this vision with his game style of a lot of 1-0s. And a lot of 1-0s in the Premier League against a team like Man United means a lot of 80th minute teams switch tactics and just ping the ball in the box. And I think with Ibrahimovic, now Pogba, Smalling, I can never say his name, whatever, he looks good in the air. I think maybe Mourinho's thinking keep him around for literally the last 10 minutes of tight games just to put him on the box and just clear headers. But apart from that, he has no footballing ability. So I don't know how I just don't get it. I mean, he just is not a Man United footballer. That's it. He's just not a Man United footballer.
Sam, tell us how you really feel about Marouane Fellaini.
Are we talking about Marouane Fellaini or the worst player on the day at the Community Shield?
Is that not your worst player?
Yeah, no, for me, it's not the same person, no.
Oh, interesting. Well, let's go in that first. Who do you think was the worst player on the day?
I thought it was Wayne Rooney.
Ooh.
I genuinely thought it was Wayne Rooney. I can't remember a time where he trapped the ball and kept it, or played a pass and it was successful. Like, for the most part, he was losing the ball. And Fellaini, barring the own goal, I can't think of too many times where Fellaini did something wrong. I mean, first half, especially the first half, Fellaini actually played well. Now, I'm not saying I want him at the club this season. I'd prefer if he was gone. Actually, I really want him to go, right? Like, I don't want him to stay. But saying that he had a bad performance, especially in the first 45, in my opinion, would be wrong. Like, he was on the ball. He was actually, like, taking on midfielders that were trying to get the ball off him. And it was kind of weird to see. And at one point, I tweeted out, like, how the hell is Fellaini playing well? I think Rooney was just so off the pace. He was so terrible. I can't believe, like, Rooney had a really bad year last year, right, in the league. But, man, that was probably the worst performance I've seen from Wayne Rooney in a very long time. Honestly, he didn't do anything right. And kind of scary, actually. So I hope Wayne Rooney, that was just an off day. Because if he plays like that again this season, we might see the decline of him even more than we did last season.
I am actually with you. I have it written down right here that Rooney was my worst player of the game. So I echo you. Fellaini, pretty atrocious as well, but the one thing that put me above it is at least he had that knockdown to Rooney, and at the very end of the game, it was before Zlatan and them, he had a knockdown in the box where it fell to Rooney and Zlatan. Zlatan almost poked it in, but it was cleared off of the line. So it was like, all right, at least he did something. Rooney was misplacing passes, giving it up in the midfield. Every time he received it, he took a long touch from it, and then it just let the defense kind of reset itself, and then they would have to go again. He didn't really have any incisiveness to it. It was just all lateral stuff, and he didn't really bring anything. Otherwise, it was a pretty atrocious from both of them. But I think it's the same thing. I don't think Fellaini is going to leave for the same reason of what JCC says. We have a bunch of tall players, a bunch of really tall players, and he's the perfect shadow striker, center forward to play when you want to park the bus. He's absolutely put him at number 10 for all, when you want to park the bus, just bring him in. He's the number 10 or the midfielder, and just sit in front and knock all those balls clean into the other side of the field. And I think for that, he's somewhat valuable. I mean, you can't argue that he's not good in the air, so I guess he's going to bring value in that way. But let's move on to better things. Who was your man of the match, Sam?
That's a tough one because I think a lot of people had good games. I don't think anybody had an outstanding game, but obviously a lot of people are saying Bailly, but I liked Shaw. I really liked what Shaw did. He was really good defensively, and his overlapping runs, it was so good to see him overlapping again. Oh my God. It was so good to see Shaw bombing down that left wing and helping out the left-hand side. And it was if he had played the whole 90 minutes, I think he didn't play the whole 90. If he had played the whole 90, I think Shaw could have been man of the match. I'm going to give it to Bailly because of what he did defensively was amazing. And as JCC said, he would have had a clean sheet if it wasn't for Fellaini, thinking he was playing for Leicester. So, yeah, I'd give it to Bailly based on that performance. I think he was the best player on the field.
All right, JCC.
Yeah, my thoughts are exactly the same. I had Luke Shaw. I thought Bailly was insane, but obviously we talked about the fouls. But I thought it was just so good to see Luke Shaw back, and that difference he makes for the Man United team is unreal. So I'd give it to him because, like I said, last season, I think if we'd kept him all season, we would comfortably have finished fourth, which is a sad statement to say as a Man United fan, but I think we would have, just because of that threat he had. He made Depay look world-class at the start for a couple of games, and I think having Shaw fit will really benefit Man United this season.
Yeah, you could just look at the splits of what Man United was with Shaw and then what they were without him. They're struggling to find good consistency in the back. We had the best defense in the league when Luke Shaw was healthy. We were still in Champions League when Luke Shaw was healthy. We didn't go on that terrible December run once Luke Shaw went out. So I think he was such a huge piece and such an underrated piece that he's going to be phenomenal. He had a good game, but I'm actually going to give it to the other fullback in Valencia. I think that he had a solid defensive showing. He didn't really give out too many mistakes. He might have been caught maybe once in the back, but I think he had a really good showing. He was putting in decent crosses, and he was the one that provided the assist. As you guys said, Bailly was a little bit reckless with his challenges, and Luke Shaw was also phenomenal, but it was a good ball in to Zlatan in the end that kind of put it over the top for me. But yeah, no one really super stood out, but it was just the assist that I went ahead and give to them. Let's move on, guys. So that is basically our wrap up of the Community Shield. Let's move on to the transfer of the moment, the hot topic, all the hashtags in the world, hashtag Pogba and all that stuff, all the hoopla. How do you guys feel finally that the saga is over, that Paul Pogba has come back, hashtag reunited, and all that garbage? How do you feel, JCC, that Paul Pogba has finally returned?
Yeah, I think it's obviously, we all knew it was happening for so long, so it was a bit boring, to say the least. It's an amazing signing for the club, for the future of the club. I hope he settles in like he should do. I mean, he's saying it's like coming home. So that's actually adding more pressure, I think, because he's kind of taking away that adjustment period that he probably, will need by saying, oh, it's like coming home. I feel like I haven't been away and all this. So if he has a dodgy couple of months, that doesn't help him in that sense. But I think a player with his physicality, he was just destined to play for Man United. It all went wrong at one point, but it's the most exciting transfer. I think it's one of the most exciting transfers in our history to bring him back. It's also the worst bit of business ever to get rid of someone for free and then buy them back for £89 million 3 years later. But what can you do? He's back, and I think he'll make a massive difference to that midfield. My biggest thing with Pogba being back is I think it kind of completes the set of maybe even last year, the signings we have brought in, physically they're huge. So, if you're like from West Brom or any team in the Premier League, but maybe a low down team, they used to kind of have a chance against us over the last couple of seasons. But I think if you're lining up in the tunnel, one, you look at them and you're like physically like, wow, they're a big bunch of players, Man United, big shirt, big club. But two, you see the names on the team sheet, and I just feel like Pogba taking, instead of having Fellaini there, you've got Pogba. Instead of having Rashford, who is also an awesome young prospect, you've got Ibrahimovic. You've got Mkhitaryan on right mid. That's 600. These Bundesliga player of the season. You've got big names where you might go, I don't really fancy our chances anymore. But when it used to be like, a couple of youngsters, Ashley Young out there, like just all these players that have kind of passed it. Fellaini,
shot, boys.
You just felt like, whoa. Hang on a minute, half these players are worse than us. So what? Come on, let's go. But now I think that it's just completed the set. Yeah, I think it'll be exciting.
Definitely. I mean, it is a terrible bit of business, but hey, the way you got to look at it is we're going to sell them in like 5 years in Real Madrid and make a tidy profit. All we did was just loan them out, okay? It's just a good bit of business. It's just a good bit of business. Sam, how do you feel? I'll pose this. Are you more excited about this signing or the Zlatan signing? What were you, in your hearts of hearts, more hyped about when you heard the news?
The Pogba signing, I'd say. Just based on age. Just based on the fact that I know Ibra's going to be here for probably 2 years. And that'll be it. I know Ibra's here just to sort of transition us. And I think when Ibra leaves, we'll sign an even better striker, or Martial might be ready enough to play him on his own up front. So I know Ibra's just here as a transition. Pogba, I think, could be here for the long run. Whether he stays his whole career, I don't know. But I think we're at least going to get 5 years out of Pogba. And he's going to develop into probably one of the best central midfield, well, probably like top 2 central midfielders in the world. I'm not saying that he is now, but I think he can be. So I'm more excited about Pogba just because of the potential that he has. And I think because we've lacked in midfield for so long, the fact that we've brought in this big, pacey, technical player like Pogba's got it all, I think that really helps our midfield, and that's just something that we've always needed, especially size. I feel like height in the midfield we've needed for a really long time. Like Schneiderlin's a good player, Herrera's a good player. Players that we've played in midfield are really good players, but Herrera's not the strongest, Schneiderlin's not the tallest. So bringing in Pogba, I think is going to be pretty good addition. I'm more excited about Pogba, I think.
And what do you guys speak to kind of the negatives? Pogba did have a subpar Euro. He comes with a huge price tag. A lot of people are saying that he's a little bit overrated. Do you think that these criticisms have merits? Do you think that we overpaid for him, or do you care that we overpaid for him?
I don't care. No, I mean, it's like, it is. I saw something interesting. It's still crazy money, but it's football nowadays. It's the equivalent in the amount of turnover that Man United make as Crystal Palace spending £15 million on a player. So it's not like Man United have invested their whole future in this player. It's a lot of money. It's crazy money for a player, 89 million. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to these clubs. They've got so much money anyway. That it's just, it's not important, I don't think, personally.
And Sam?
Well, maybe if those people watch Serie A, I'd take their criticism and their judgment seriously. But a lot of these people are just saying he's overrated based on his Euros. So I don't take any merit in people saying that he's overrated. For me, like, I've watched a few games of Juventus. Granted, I didn't watch every game of Juventus. I watched, I think, 4 or 5 Serie A games, and he was always pretty class. And Italian league is not the Premier League by any stretch of the imagination, but he's a talented player. Like, that's the end of it. Like, he is talented. He's not, I wouldn't say he's top 5 best central midfielders in the world, but to start throwing like, oh, waste of money and stuff like that, it's kind of odd because like a lot of these clubs, like a lot of the fans are like Arsenal fans who haven't even spent money. So you got to feel for them because they just haven't spent anything, and then they go see us spending this. They're obviously going to try and find a negative out of it. But like, I saw something where us signing Pogba for this money was the equivalent of us signing Rio Ferdinand back when we signed him. It was the same sort of how much we spent to how much we had. So if he turns out to be as impactful as Rio Ferdinand, well, there you go. You can't really determine a player's worth until you see how well they do for your club. And that's what I'm going to wait for Paul Pogba. Also, when Gareth Bale signed for Real Madrid, a lot of people would argue that he was pretty overrated at that point. He had one good season, and everybody thought he'd struggle at Real Madrid, and look what he is now. Like, don't judge a player until you've seen him at their new club. That's what I'm going to do with Pogba. I'm going to wait. I'm going to give him probably the whole season and see how he did that season and if he's developed at all, which I think he will under Mourinho.
Yeah, and I totally agree with all you guys, and I think it's kind of unfair that it's like, oh, he had a subpar Euro. You know, like, who else had a subpar Euro? All of England.
Everyone.
All of England had a terrible Euro, and we aren't really giving them a lot of shtick. Like, no one's saying it's like, oh, Dele Alli's overrated, Harry Kane is gonna be a flop. Like, no, they had a poor tournament. Zlatan had a poor tournament, but one tournament doesn't really make a player. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we're gonna have to go ahead and we're gonna have to see where he fits in, how he plays in this league. But I think it's as you guys are saying, I think it's a lot of people that are be like, it's trendy right now. That's what the internet is. It's trendy to say we paid too much for him or that he's an overrated player and he's not that good. But at the end of the day, you got to look further back, man. Like, do you remember where we were at this time last year? We had bought some player that nobody had ever heard of, you know, a guy named Anthony Martial, who we were like, who is this guy? And what a fucking waste of money. That was all over Twitter. And then the Liverpool game happened. And then Skirtle's career ended. And it was ridiculous, all right? So you got to look back a year. We'll see where we are in 1 year's time from now. Hopefully, you know, history smiles on Manchester United for this one. But I think at the end of the day, if you overpay for like a Porsche, you did overpay for it, but you still have a Porsche. Like, and you still can drive really fucking fast in that Porsche, and that's what I feel like this Paul Pogba thing is people's like, oh, you overpaid for that fancy car. It's like, well, we have the fucking fancy car, okay? I'm plenty happy with it. As long as it drives fast, that's all I care about. So I think that's like my final opinion on this. Hopefully, I think he could be a game changer, man. He could become one of the best in the world. That potential you can't just find anywhere else, so you're going to have to pay a premium. So we'll see. But speaking of which, you know, would you guys say Paul Pogba was your, I guess Sam kind of answered this already, but which Manchester United transfer do you think will do the best, or is your favorite transfer so far this summer? JCC, we'll go to you. No, we'll go to JCC. Shut up, Sam. We're going to JCC.
Well, my answer's not Pogba, so whatever.
Okay. We'll come back.
There are four. I mean, I'll just go out there and say I'll be different because he slipped under the radar the most. But Mkhitaryan is the Bundesliga player of the season. He is the equivalent to Riyad Mahrez in Germany, which is also a very strong league. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. And I think players like him who have signed in a window where the other three players are expected to be the ones with the pressure on them. Like, no one's really expecting Mkhitaryan to have that much pressure on him. I think we signed him as well for like 20-something mil, which is not that much money for a player of his standard. So I have some predictions that he'll kind of roll up with no pressure on his shoulders, play freely, and show us why he was, you know, bought and why he was the Bundesliga player of the season. I'm going to go with Mkhitaryan for this season.
All right, Sam, here's your turn. Who's your favorite?
Mine was also Mkhitaryan. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to have the most impact. I don't think he's the best out of the players that we've signed, but I think he's going to have the most impact, and he's going to make the most difference on the right-hand side. We've struggled with having like actual wingers. We've had Mata there on the right-hand side the whole last season. Ugh. He's going to bring a little bit of width, a bit more pace, and to be honest, if we do have Valencia playing right back, or even Damian with the overlapping runs, he could really help out. He's got so many options. Like Valencia, I love when Valencia takes on a player because like you know where he's going, and he tries tricking the defender, making him think he's going on his left when everybody knows he's going on his right. I don't know why he wastes his time.
He's always like jab step and then three moves and then he just puts it forward and runs.
And he's on, and then there's only But with Mkhitaryan, like, he's great on both feet, right? He can do anything. He's going to trick defenders, and he's going to have an overlapping run. He's going to have a cross to Ibrahimovic. He's going to have a short pass to maybe Rooney or someone like that, and you don't know what he's going to do. And that's what I'm most excited about. He's such a talented player. I can't wait to see him.
All right, so we know, who Sam and JCC are going to be playing in their fantasy team this year from Manchester United. For me, the guy, just what I'm voting more with my heart, and it's Zlatan. Like, the things that I've seen this man do is just absolutely, and his quotes and everything just makes him an absolute legend. Yes, Mkhitaryan is probably, I agree with you guys, probably going to have a really big impact on that right wing, and Pogba has a chance to be world class in midfield, but they aren't legends yet. Zlatan is a living legend he's going to be remembered for ages and ages to come, and to see him in a Red Devil kit is just something else. To see him test himself in the Premier League is just so fucking exciting for me to see this season. And I hope he has that feeling in the tank. I hope he gets the rest that he needs so that, when the time comes, when the big moment arrives, that he can do it. But that's the one for me. Plus, the Paul fucking Pogba thing just took fucking forever. So by the time he signed, I was just like, oh, just let it be done and over with.
What did you think of the video, huh? The videos of him.
Everybody on Twitter's like slagging it off. As an American, we like over the top and cheesy. Like, we just like more cheese. The more cheese and explosions. Like, we're the fucking like Michael Bay, Donald Trump. Just the bigger flasher, the better. So I was like, this is ridiculous, and I know it's really dumb, but I kind of like it at the same. Like, the old thing is that, like, he comes in and then he's eaten up by the pressure. What this says to me is that he does not know the word pressure exists. Because there was already, like, a huge, he's overrated and all this other stuff. And he just added so much fire onto that. He added so much fuel to that fire by making that video that was totally unnecessary. Wow, though. Sam, how did you feel about the Stormzy video?
That's kind of what I expect with Pogba. Like, he is going to be such a marketable player. Like, you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff Pogba related. He's probably going to come out with his own, like, brands of anything, really. And I think he's just that kind of player where he's just become that kind of marketable player. And I wasn't even surprised to see him do a video with Stormzy. I kind of liked it. I'm with B here. Yeah, it was kind of like,
yes,
it was kind of cheesy in a good way. Of like, yes, it's Pogba. Yes, I love this.
There we go. The two people that actually liked it.
The English people did not like it.
I know.
I could tell you.
I know for a fact that I saw it on Twitter, and they were just like, "This is so AIDS," and the memes are gonna be so far. Like the Rick Ashley juxtaposition with him doing it is so fucking good. But he doesn't care. You kind of gotta like a player that's just like totally not in touch with reality, I guess.
Yeah.
So I kind of liked. I like the moxie. I like the swagger. But with all these big name signings coming in for Manchester United, we talked so much about Manchester United. Let's go ahead and bring it over. I'll probably leave like time skips where you can skip to like where we talk about an actual other team besides Manchester United. What transfer to a team did you really like this season? Do you think will do really, really well that isn't Manchester United, Sam? I think I have you pinned.
There's a lot of good ones. I think a lot of players that'll make a good impact. But for me, as far as the level that the club is at and then the level that the player is at, I'm going to go with Alvaro Negredo to Middlesbrough as probably... It could go either way. Like, I could see him just being completely shit. But if he's at his best, he is going to single-handedly keep Middlesbrough out of the relegation zone. Because you need goals to stay up, and that is goals right there. Negredo, he played for City, and he was pretty decent when he was playing for City. You got to remember, at the time, they had like 4 strikers. They still had Dzeko, so he wasn't really getting the game time, but he was really good when he played. And I think he's just got big club experience. The manager's also Spanish, and he's kind of brought in a couple of Spanish players with Valdez and Barragan, so there's a bit of a Spanish core. I think Negredo's going to fit in. I think he's going to do really well. And if you can single-handedly keep a team out of the relegation zone, that's a pretty fucking good signing, in my opinion.
All right. And JCC, who do you think will do pretty well this year? new boy?
Pretty controversial, but I think given the play style of the manager, I can't see John Stones flopping. I can't. Under Pep Guardiola, I think it's the only coach I think he could have gone to at this time in his career, because he's got the jury is really out of him. Half the people are rating him as the next best centre back ever, and then half the people are like, oh, he's totally shit, waste of money. So if he gets under Guardiola's thumb, buys into the philosophy. City have had problems at centre back. They've got utter dog shit at centre back, except for Company. But Company's got no fitness levels at the moment. If Company can stay fit, and then you've got Company and John Stones partnered, they're playing out from the back every single time. Stones is going to be on the ball every single time. The fans, I think, will be patient because of Guardiola's philosophy. So if Stones messes up a few passes, I think he'll be let off, and I think he's an exciting player to be playing under Pep Guardiola. It's a shame they're both at Man City, but I think I'm looking forward to seeing him there. I think it's going to be either massively terrible or amazing, one of the two.
Ooh, it's an interesting pick from a Manchester United fan. I don't think that's going to happen just because Company's just not going to stay fit the whole entire season. That's a really big if. But yeah, now that I thought about it, it was just that's actually a great. He's in the role of a kind of a high, a high attacker, can go ahead, distribute the ball, is comfortable on the ball, a little PK action going on. But I'm going to be a little bit controversial as well in the fact that I'm choosing a Liverpool player here. So we're just not true Manchester United fans. I'm going with Sadio Mane. I think is going to be a freaking lightning bolt at Liverpool. And the reason why is, once again, is the same reason that you're saying it. It's the manager. I think that Sadio Mane was great at Southampton in a side that was good but didn't really fit his play style. He was kind of the counterattack for Southampton. Well, him and Shane Long. But I think in the style that Klopp plays, he likes those lightning fast counters. He likes tricky players. He likes players that can bag goals and get assists. That Sadio Mane is the perfect kind of player for that system. The signings that they've had, that they got this season, joining them with Wijnaldum, he got a little he's building a mini Borussia Dortmund at Liverpool, at least offensively. Defensively, I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. But Sakho's pretty darn good, and if Joel Matip works out, they're a team to watch. I honestly think so. And he's these own, he's got a little Götze in Coutinho, and now on the right, I feel with Sadio Mane, he's got a little Royce in him, or a little Mkhitaryan in him, and with Gini Wijnaldum and all those other players, and if Sturridge can stay fit, which is just never going to happen, that's the biggest issue that I have with them. I think that they're going to run people out of the park. A couple of teams. They're going to just run them out of the park, and there's a lot of goals in that team. If Sadio Mane isn't scoring them, they 4-0'd Barcelona, and it's preseason, but they still 4-0'd Barcelona, and a lot of their best players were still playing at that. Well, Neymar wasn't there, but a lot of their best players were still. Suarez and Messi were playing in that game, and they still 4-0'd them. And Sadio Mane, you saw, his blueprint was on a lot of those goals. So I really think Sadio Mane is going to do really well. Put him on your fantasy teams, guys. That's all I'm going to say. Who do you think will be the biggest flop of the transfer season? And I'm actually going to start this one off because I never get to start anything off. But I'm going to say my top two players were actually Man City players. And one was Gundogan. And that's just simply because he's just not going to stay fit. And the other one is Leroy Sané, who isn't fit at the moment. He pulled his hamstring. I think Leroy Sané is a very talented player. And I think that he's going to be probably pretty good in the future. But I think the biggest thing about him is that I just don't see how he fits into the team or how he's going to get consistent play time this season. So as far as this season, and he has to adapt to a new league. 2, it's under a new coach, and 3, he's going to have a lot of competition to play out on those wings, depending on where De Bruyne and Sterling is going to be playing. Does he play ahead of Jesus Navas? I don't know. So I think it's a big money signing, but I think he's one for the future. I don't think he really emerges this season. Sam, who do you think will be the biggest transfer flop of this season?
I'm actually going to go with John Stones, which is the player that JCC picked as his best transfer. Because coming off of a bad year, I agree that Pep Guardiola is probably the best manager he could have gone to. I don't know what it is about John Stones. Like, he's got so much potential, but he had a pretty bad season last season. That was Everton as a whole, but I don't know. I don't see him leading the defense. And as B said, Company, more or less, like, he's probably going to get injured this season at one point or another. I don't know how long for. I don't know how many times he'll get injured, but you can pretty much guarantee he's going to get injured at one point. And Otamendi can be a liability, can be a very talented centre-back, but he can be a massive liability. And you're going to need Stones to be kind of leading the defence. And he didn't really do that at Everton. That was kind of left for Jagielka with a bit more experience. But I just don't see him leading his defence. I see him maybe being a little bit like Otamendi, where he's such a talented centre-back, and he's got everything that he needs to be a really good centre-back, but just being a bit of a liability just because of how he's played under Martinez. Like, he's going to have to shake that off quickly if he's going to want to be a talented centre-back. And also he's a City player, so yeah, fuck him.
Your thoughts, JCC?
I think Xhaka to Arsenal is...
I can hear the hate comments. I can hear them already. Fuck JCC.
Let it ring down.
Bring it.
He doesn't know anything about football.
35 million for a player who bottled it with a penalty, but I just don't think he's that. I just don't think he's that special. Again, though, I don't watch a lot of the Bundesliga, so he could prove me wrong. I think Coquelin is a better bet for them there, providing he can stay fit. But then again, my maybe less controversial decision would probably be Ashley Williams. I think even though it's not that big of a price tag, I think people...
What?
I think personally, I just can't see... I think it's a good transfer for Everton. Like, it's a good risk to take, but I don't know. Ashley Williams, if he'll do well at another club, he did so well at Swansea. I just have a feeling that he might. I don't actually have that much reason. I'm just predicting that I just feel like the change of club. Right. I don't think Everton are that much of a finished product at the moment. I think, especially if they lose Lukaku, which I think they probably will actually, but I think Koeman's a good manager, but I just think Ashley Williams might have difficulty adjusting. I see him having like an injury hit season, like one of those out for 6 weeks and then out for 2 months, and then he doesn't really get himself in the team. But I could be proven wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong because I like him. But I think Ashley Williams, personally.
Yeah, that's a hot take.
That's not
because
the worst signing. It's hard because I don't think he's the worst signing, but I think I see a lot of Everton fans thinking he's going to be like amazing, and I think they just like threw John Stones out, like thinking, I hate John Stones, and it was the right decision business wise to take the money, but John Stones, Ashley Williams, I know which one I'd rather have at my club.
All right.
I'd rather have Ashley Williams.
Yeah, that one's a hot. I mean, all the arrows are pointing up for Ashley Williams. Yeah. So, and especially going to a new defensive manager, he has an experienced center back next to him. That one's a hot take, but all right, I like it. Well, let's go ahead and let's move on to a more Premier League predictions. Let's start it off. Actually, should we start off where Manchester United we'll finish? We'll save that for later, I guess. We'll save that after our top four, so you can kind of... Well, hopefully you guys have them in the top four. If you don't, I'm not going to blame you. But who do you guys think... We'll go quickly through this. Just give our hot takes, so we are running a little bit long. Who do you think will be the Golden Boot winner this year?
I think Sergio Aguero, probably.
I'd probably put my money on Aguero, yeah.
Okay, clean sweep. I'm going Aguero. I don't think we really need to talk too much. As long as he stays healthy, I think it's pretty much his. Do you guys have any hot takes? Any challengers that might bring?
If he does get injured, I think Kane's got a shot. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Kane's got to bounce back from that Euros, though, man. It was brutal over here. He is not very popular at the moment. So if he can... He'll have to bounce back, but he's a quality player. So
well, he's done it 2 seasons in a row now, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, it's all he needs to do is open like scoring the opener. It's the way that the age that we live in now is very much like a what have you done for me lately? It's like, what did you do in the last game? Is pretty much if you're either shit or you're the greatest player ever. And I feel like that's the way it's going to be with, like, this is kind of going back to Pogba, but, like, Pogba, he's going to have some shit games, I feel like. He's like, where was Pogba? Waste of money. And then he's going to score a fucking worldie. And then we're going to think he's the greatest player, since Pele. So I think this is going to be that kind of stuff. A little bit harder, even though we are Manchester United fans. Who do you think will win the Golden Glove?
De Gea, because of Mourinho's style, I think will lock it up. And I think the only other obvious two choices is Courtois, which you could put in there because Conte's defensive, and Guardiola's City. But I don't know. I think Hart could find himself missing out for Caballero, is it? A few games, I think, because if he makes a mistake, I just feel like Guardiola might go for Caballero with the Spanish link. So I think De Gea.
And Sam, who are you going with? You going to go Homer?
My first, when you first asked the question, the first thing that came in my mind was Courtois. Just based on Chelsea going to be very defensive this year. Conte knows what he's doing defensively. But I'm going to go with De Gea because I love him. Because Mourinho's also very defensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think the names that were on the sheet for me for here was Lloris, because Tottenham had a pretty darn good defense last year. Courtois, obviously, because of, the Conte factor. But Mourinho has experience in the league, being defensive. And we had one of the best defenses last year under Louis van Gaal. So I don't see how that doesn't, it's not like we shit those players out. I don't see how that doesn't improve under Mourinho, who, I don't think it's a stretch to say that he's a better manager, or a better defensive manager. So I'm gonna go with David De Gea. We'll skip over a couple of things right here, but let's give it hot take. Who do you think will be the player of the year when it's all said and done?
Jesus.
It's a toughie.
That's
toughie.
Should probably harder than predicting the league.
Yeah, it is. I'll give you mine. I'll give you guys a little bit of time right here, and it's Kevin De Bruyne, for me. I think has the potential. If he has playing a Pep Guardiola system, if he is what it's funneled through, he can do it all. Like, the kid's got pace, the kid can shoot, the kid can assist. He just does certain things that I'm like, that's what a world-class footballer can do that I haven't seen other human beings capable of. The hair, he's got it all. Like, and if he can stay healthy, and that's kind of like the if he's only one season removed from being the Bundesliga Player of the Year. We had an absolutely blinding season with Wolfsburg. If Pep Guardiola can instill his system, can bring it in, I think that he's got a shot at the end of the year to be racking up the assists and goals and taking home that trophy. All right, Sam, do you got something for me?
I can't find anybody that I'd be more confident with than saying De Bruyne. I want to say a Chelsea player just based on the fact that I think they're going to be pretty high up the table.
You're just sucking the Chelsea cock this year.
I'm just putting it out there. I can't say like Hazard or Oscar. Like I wouldn't put my money on them, so I can't say them. But I'd probably go with De Bruyne. That's a good shout. I didn't even think about him, but he's such a complete attacking midfielder. He can do it all. He can shoot. He can pass. He can even hold the ball up. He's a pretty sizable guy. So I'd go with KDB. Why not?
All right. And JCC, you want to mix it up?
Yeah, I think Kante, because I think Kante, I've listened to a few Leicester interviews, one from Mark Schwarzer, who was their reserve goalie last year, and he was picking Kante, to really stand out. He was saying this guy can do stuff that you just wouldn't believe, and he was saying that when he goes to a team like Chelsea in the Champions League, playing week in, week out, he's going to show that even more. So I think Kante, and then I think if Man United win the league, Mkhitaryan. That's my prediction.
Mkhitaryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the loss of Conte at Leicester is going to be so huge. Watching them play, I watched them play live when they were here up against PSG in LA, and Mahrez was non-existent. Defensively, they were in shambles, and you saw it again. Like, they are playing probably a better side in Manchester United, but they aren't the defensive team that they once were. They can't cover it. And I know people were like, oh, they lost Cambiaso, it's fine. Then they filled in with Conte. And we lost Conte, oh, it's fine. And they'll get, fill in with Mendy or whoever. It's not the same. Like they just don't look like the same team. They gotta, and I think that they're really gonna struggle without that. So I think it's a pretty good shout, Conte. If he can fit into that defensive system, well, it's not a bad shout. All right, but let's go ahead and talk about who do you think will be a team that kind of surprises people this year. And you could take surprise in two ways. You could be like, oh, they do really positive, or they do surprisingly bad. Who do you think will do the unexpected this year?
I think Sunderland will do quite well under Moyes. I think he'll take them from battling relegation every single year to the last weekend to probably a safe 13th or 14th. I also think Crystal Palace are one to watch with some of their transfer activity. They've done some interesting things. And I personally think that Liverpool might struggle. I think they might struggle. I agree with a lot of the things you said, B, earlier. But I just think on paper, if you look at the teams and you look at the transfers, and there's the famous already going around Twitter of Klopp saying you can't sign good players if you're not in the Champions League, and then there's the pictures of Man United signings. But I feel like, I don't know. That's kind of my shout. It's not. I wouldn't put money on it, like you said, but Liverpool could go either way. If the other teams, the other 4 or 5 big teams, Tottenham, you could even put in their 6 teams. West Ham could do well. Liverpool could find themselves in 8th again, and that would be an issue, I think.
All right, so we got some hot takes going on, because I know me and Sam have a little bit of disagreement on what you just said right here. Sam, who do you think is the hot team to take a look at this year?
I wanted to say Middlesbrough, because I think they'll stay up when you pretty much expect teams to go up to go down. But JCC said something that sparked my interest. I think Palace are going to have a shocking season. I think they're going to be pretty terrible under
I'm with
Pardew.
you on this one too. Yeah.
I think they're going to be like close to relegation. I don't think they'll be relegation battling the whole season, but I think they're going to be probably 2 or 3 spots above the relegation zone. Like, I see them as like a 16th, 15th team this season. I think they're going to absolutely capitulate under Pardew. That would be a shock, because they've got a really talented roster.
He's got a history.
But so did Newcastle. So did Newcastle under Pardew. They had a really decent roster with Kabay and all them. Like, they had a pretty solid core. And they even had Tim Krul in net. You could say the same thing. He now has Kabay and Mandanda in net. Like, and they might lose Balassi. I don't know. I just see them. I just don't trust Pardew. He's pretty shit.
Yeah, the honeymoon. He always comes in and he has that honeymoon effect where it definitely seems like the team sings for a bit, and then the message kind of gets old. He's kind of like a shittier Mourinho in that kind of fashion.
Just look at the end of last season, like
Exactly.
the last 6 months where they didn't win a game.
We can look back on the Samba as the beginning of the end for Crystal Palace, I guess, if you want to go ahead and look at that. The hot team, or the team that I think will surprise people, and this is kind of like GCC. This isn't like based on logic or metrics or signings. This is just a gut feeling. I think Arsenal, this is a year that they drop out of the top 4. And I pray that this happens, not because I hate Arsenal. It's because that I hope this happens so that something has to change in that team to break them out of the limbo that they've been in for the past, like, it seems like, I don't know, like 10 years of them just constantly just teasing their fans and always flirting with it, and then just always coming up with the end product. I think that they have to move on from you can't. It's the same thing with like these signings and everybody getting on these cases. You can't hold on to the romanticism of what used to be. Like, you can't hold on to the fact that, like, okay, maybe your team in the past had homegrown talent like Manchester United and had a whole bunch of English players, and that was the golden age for you. But it's not like that anymore. This isn't modern football. This is modern football. So sometimes you gotta pay money, Mr. Arsene Wenger. Like, this is what you have to do. It's not sexy, it's not romantic, but if you look at it, at the powerhouse teams that win Champions League, that win their leagues, hold Leicester, all right? For the most part, they're teams that pay the money. Like, you could say that Manchester City bought a couple league titles. Yeah, but they got league titles. At the end of the day, we're in a different age, and we kind of have to suck it up that we're living in a different age. This is now. It's not back in the good old days. So I really hope that Arsenal get a whole bunch of injuries and just tuck it so that they can actually move into the modern age of football. That's it for me on that hot take. Let's go ahead and talk about who we think is going to get relegated this season, and then we'll move on to the top 4. JCC, who do you think? Who's your bottom 3? Who's going out?
Difficult. Hull, for sure, at this point. I think they got like 13 fit players. Swansea. I think Swansea will go down. And my last one... Let's go West Brom. I think West Brom would struggle this year.
Why West Brom?
I just don't see them having... I don't actually know who they've signed, but that's not a good sign. And I think Pulis maybe will be gone by January. I don't think he'll leave him in a bad position, but I think he could get another job offer. Maybe that I can't see him leaving them, lower down. But if he got a job offer, or I don't know, I just feel like West
save their season halfway through.
Could do it again. Yeah, I feel like West Brom have just been one of those teams who've just been there. Like I don't know, would they be missed? That's how I'm kind of thinking. But I don't know about that last spot. But definitely, I think Swansea and Hull at this point.
All right, and Sam?
For me, yeah, Hull will be rock bottom. I don't even think they have a permanent manager right now. I think they have the caretaker manager right now. So disorganized. A few days off the Premier League. I've put Bournemouth down there. I don't really know why, because Bournemouth were really impressive last season for what they had. And I think with Callum Wilson returning from injury, they could actually be really good. They're kind of like a wild card for me. But I don't know why, I just have this feeling like defensively they might not be good enough. And I think maybe they'll be going down, which I don't want to see them going down. I like Bournemouth. And then my third one was going to be, when I did my prediction video, it was Watford. Not based on anything, just based on I thought teams above them were better, especially because they've held on to Ighalo and Deeney, and you need goals to stay up. But I'm going to agree with JCC, and I think with losing Ashley Williams, I'm going to say Swansea. They've made some okay signings, like with Llorente and stuff, and I put them pretty high up on my predictions table, but Ashley Williams is a huge loss, and they did sign some Spanish guy I saw yesterday or last night for me. But I don't know. I don't know if they're going to have that composure with the new manager and stuff like that. I don't know. With Swansea, it feels like maybe this will be the year that they don't stay up, which would be unfortunate because, again, Swansea is a club that I kind of like.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere too far away from you guys. Hull, I think we've kind of explained why Hull is in there. So naturally, they're going to win the league this season. Swansea... I'm going for, and I made this prediction before Ashley Williams left, and now it looks way better since Ashley Williams just did leave. And it's the curse of Leroy Fer. If we look back historically, when we see Leroy Fer on a roster, it almost guarantees that they're going to get relegated that season. I think he played for Norwich when they got relegated, then QPR when they got relegated. Yeah. So now, I'm sorry, but Swansea, come on, you got to know better than this. You can't sign Leroy Fer for your team. And then I also have Bournemouth for the same reasons as Sam. It'll be sad to see them go down because I really do love their story and, they're fairy tale. But I think they snuck up on some teams last year. They got some big wins up against big clubs. I'm interested in that. I think that, they really shouldn't have. And I think that the luck kind of runs out. But, people are going to know. People are going to know. And Callum Wilson coming back from, I believe, like a knee. Is it going to be, at full fitness, a year after? Certain players respond differently, so we'll see. All right, big money, big bucks, no whammies. Let's go. Top 4 predictions. It's big money time. JCC, who's your top 4? Let's go to 4 to 1. Let's add a little bit
from
of
4 to 1
to it. Yeah.
Okay. Arsenal 4th, because that would just be hilarious. This was tough. I think Chelsea 3rd. Then I think City 2nd, just because I can't see Guardiola finishing 3rd or outside the top 2, I should say. And then I think Man United 1st. Ooh. I really do, but I'm biased.
Okay, yeah. Let's go through everyone's first, and then we'll yell at each other. Sam, what is your top 4?
I want to say mine is completely up to the rest of the transfer window. Anything could change in my top 4, but I have Spurs 4th. City 3rd, United 2nd, and Chelsea 1st.
Chelsea 1st. I have Chelsea not in my top 5.
Damn.
I don't know. I just think that these teams are really good. I have Tottenham in 4th. I don't have Arsenal in my top 4. I have Liverpool 3rd. I have Man City 2nd, and I have Manchester United winning the league as well. The reasons for me is I don't think Chelsea's looked that great in the preseason, and I mean, like, we keep on harping about how, like, Conte is such a defensive genius and, you know, and all this stuff, but who has he signed defensively besides Conte? Like, he already had a pretty good CDM in Matic, who had, you know, kind of a flop season last year, but they still have the same issues of an aging back 4 that they did the season before. And if you watch, I've been watching them in the preseason and whatnot, they're susceptible defensively. He came in, like, I don't know how much time. I think he's going to need time to adjust into this, you know, into the team. It's a very talented side with a lot of talented players, but, you know, a couple of them are getting a little bit older in age. Kurt Zuma is still recovering. What coverage do they have if one of their older center backs, you know, go down? You know, it's a year older, a year slower of John Terry. I just have a feeling that he's going to struggle at times. He might. I don't think he's going to be. I think he's a good coach, but I just don't think that they still have these issues, and they didn't sort it out in the transfer window, which is very uncharacteristic of a side with that much money. So I don't see them in the top 4. Liverpool are already kind of. I see a mini BVB, and I see Klopp. I have a lot of faith in Klopp in that, like, he has the ability to take players that might not be the highest caliber, but if they buy into the system, they press high, and he has enough depth to play that rock and roll style of football. On their day, I think they could beat anyone in the league. And then for Man City, it's a phenomenal side, but I think Pep Guardiola probably going to have a little bit of tough time adjusting to playing day in and every single weekend. Everyone's going to come at them. And this is arguably the least talented side he's ever controlled. If you look at the teams, you know, obviously the names go on and on at Barcelona, and then the Bayern team with Robin, Ribery, Costa, fucking, like, everybody and their mom, Lewandowski. Who does he have at Manchester City? Sterling? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he has like Leroy Sané, Jesus Navas. Yes, he has Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, you know, but they're just, and Aguero, but they're just not the same caliber. They're big names, but they aren't the biggest names in the sport. And I think that he's going to struggle. And the reason why I went Manchester United at top of the league is because Mourinho. This is the Mourinho factor. I think to win the league, and what Leicester did so freaking well last year, was you need to be able to beat and put down the smaller teams consistently. And out of the new managers, I don't know who's going to be able to do that. Who has the experience in the Prem to actually do that besides Mourinho? Mourinho's fine, you know, up against, like, Bournemouth 1-0, throw Fellaini on, you know, at the 65th minute, and we're good. You know, and he's gonna get you those 3 points on a rainy day, on a miserable day, on a horrible day of football. You're gonna want to gouge your eyes out, but he's gonna be able to get you those 3 points, you know, when it matters throughout the whole entire season. I think for that, I have to choose Manchester United. JCC, explain your top 4.
Yeah, similar reason. I think the battle for the league is between Mourinho and Guardiola, and I think Mourinho has won it twice. And just that level of management, because they're obviously the two most decorated in modern football. You've got such fine margins, and I just think Mourinho's going to just have a little bit more knowledge in this first season to get him over the line of the league. You really made me think about Chelsea. I kind of forgot about their aging back 4. Another year of Terry. I think Conte's used to Serie A, isn't he, where, you know, maybe you can get away with that slower pace of football when playing those slower defenders, but maybe John Terry doesn't have long left. I don't think. When Zuma back, I don't know. That could make a difference, but it is a mystery as to why they haven't signed anyone in defence, for sure. And I don't agree with Liverpool. I do like Klopp.
That's a hot take. Klopp. That one's just like a hot take for me. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I do like Klopp, but I just think when you've got Man United signing Ibrahimovic and they sign Sadio Mane, it's a little bit like, I don't know, it doesn't have the same swagger to it, but I would like to see them up there. I actually would, more than I would like to see Arsenal or something like that. I think Arsenal to finish 4th, because it'd just be hilarious to see them finish 4th again. And because I think that would be enough for Wenger to probably get a year contract extension. And
so you
I
want
just
the
like
to continue?
I like to be on Twitter for those sort of experiences. But yeah, I think pretty much you summed up what I was going to say, and it is for sure the worst team that Guardiola's ever managed. And if you actually look at it, Barcelona and Bayern are kind of gifts, those two squads. So he's got a lot to prove this year. I mean, that Barcelona was a crazy period of their players coming through where they just all gelled insanely. Bayern Munich just had superstars, 3 players deep in every position. And now he's got a real challenge to adapt to this league, and it's going to be very interesting, even as a United fan, to follow their progress and see if he does live up to the hype, because his whole reputation could be very seriously tarnished if they finish in 5th place and he really struggles with the team. People will start saying, "Oh, well, actually, he just had brilliant players who just picked themselves."
It's a legacy
so
season
that
for him.
could be a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, Sam, what are you thinking?
Well, let's start from the bottom for me. Spurs. I'm surprised neither of you have them in your top 4.
Oh, I had Spurs at 4.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, then, fuck you, JCC. Jesus. I don't see them getting worse than last season, even though I've put them in a lower position. They've not lost any of their players. It's another year under Pochettino, and they've brought in a bit of coverage as well in Janssen, who's a really good striker. I think people are sleeping on him a little bit. And Wanyama, who, if you need a bit of size in the midfield, there you go. Bit of coverage for maybe Eric Dyer or Dele Alli as a defensive-minded big player. So for me, Tottenham, I think they should comfortably be getting 4th. But I think just based on other teams being better than them, they might slip to that 4th position. And it'd be nice if they finish above Arsenal, who I think will come 5th. That'll be pretty funny. In 3rd, I put City based on what you guys have been saying about Pep. I think it's going to take him a while to adjust to a league where his team's not, well, it is the best, but it's not, you can't just demolish lower sides. You can maybe like 3 or 4 games in the league at home. Maybe if you're coming up against Hull City, you'll just absolutely rinse them. But away at like mid-table teams, you're going to have to work for it. And I think Pep's going to have to adjust to that a little bit. Can't be playing, expansive football against counter-attacking defensive sides. So you kind of just have to adjust your tactics a little bit there. With Mourinho, he's got experience in the league. And with Chelsea, I've put him first just based on, I don't know, like I really think they're going to sign more players. That's why I've put them there. If they don't, then I'll put them down a little bit lower than where I have them. But I still think they should be making top 4. And be like, you say they're susceptible in defense, but I think Conte, once he gets his head around this defense, I think he'll be really good. If they sign another centre back, then there you go. Like that's pretty much it. And I agree with you with the whole Zuma thing, and playing Cahill and Terry. They don't really have that many centre backs. Maybe Matt Miazga's gonna get a chance.
I think he just got loaned out, actually.
Did he?
I was checking it yesterday. Well, I was like, "Who did they sign anyone?" And I looked it up, and I think he's playing in the Bundesliga this year. I might go in. But yeah, I was asking us like who's the coverage? They did sign another. I think they signed and then there was another center back that they sold, like another team.
Yeah, Gilabodji.
Yeah, so they sold one. So I'm guessing they have someone coming in. Like they have.
If they don't have anyone coming in and they're going to play Terry and Cahill for the first half of the season, then they will struggle. But Conte likes experienced defenders. And he likes the over 30 defenders. I agree with what JCC said. You can't be playing slow centre-backs in the Premier League. But if you couple Zuma and Cahill, I think under Conte, that's a good partnership. But if they bring an even better centre-back in, I'm surprised they're not linked with like the Juve centre-backs. But if they could bring another centre-back in, then I think they'll be pretty good. And with United, I just think Mourinho's experience... I don't like tipping United to win the league. I feel like it just curses us or like jinxes us or something. But I'd like us to win the league, of course. But I think second, because Mourinho doesn't usually do well in his first season. So second would be like, okay, we're going to win the league next year. And you'd be pretty confident in that. So, yeah.
That's fair.
No Arsenal, no Liverpool.
That's fair. I think Conte is an incredibly good coach. I just think it's going to take him a while. And in that adjustment period, I think he's going to be kind of falling behind and kind of need to be pretty consistent throughout the whole entire year.
I think it'll take longer to than Conte. I think it'll take Pep longer to adjust than Conte.
Well, that's a fair shout. That's a fair shout as well. I just think that, I don't know. I think actually Chelsea has a bounce back season. I just don't think that and they could easily make like top 4. I think my Liverpool prediction can come back to bite me, but hey, comes through. I'm a fucking genius, guys. All right, let's go ahead and let's end it out. I think we kind of all explained like where we feel like Manchester United is going to finish this season. I think we all kind of know that. We want them, we're thinking 1 or 2, very high hopes. And especially, I mean, Paul Pogba signing with them is the X factor, man. It's just like, if he can become the player that, that we think he can be, it's a complete game changer. He completes that midfield, and he'll make that engine run. So we'll see. And we'll end it out with Champions League predictions. Let's all say it, guys. Manchester United. We're gonna win the Champions League. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but if Leicester won the league, we're gonna be able to do it, guys. We're gonna somehow be able. We're gonna do it. All right, guys. But who do you guys think wins Champions League this season? JCC?
I think Bayern Munich. I just say it hands down, Bayern Munich. I think their squad depth. Carlo Ancelotti won it with Real Madrid, La Decima. I think he'll be confident with that squad, and I just feel like it's their time to win it this year.
Everything he said. That's exactly what I have written down. I was like, Bayern under Ancelotti, his style seems to win Champions League, so really talented side kind of peaking. I just don't see. I don't know. I guess I have a feeling that Barcelona might choke it away again. It was either them or Barcelona, so yeah. Sam, who are you going with?
I mean, Bayern is the obvious one, but I kind of want to maybe give Juventus a bit of a shout with the squad that they have. Obviously, their manager's Allegri, so I don't know if he chokes or not. But with the squad that they have, and you look at it on paper, with the signings they've made, I don't see any reason why Juve should not be in that final. Probably against Bayern Munich, and the last time those two faced, Bayern Munich won. So yeah, probably Bayern Munich, just because of Carlo Ancelotti. I think if Juve had a better manager than Allegri, I think I'd probably lean to Juventus to actually win the whole thing.
Yeah, I think if they had a better manager and they kept on Paul Pogba, that's actually not a bad shout because their transfers have been tremendous. But that'll pretty much, guys, wrap it up for our Premier League, well, a little bit more than Premier League predictions for this season. Thank you, guys. If we've learned anything, it's that I'm a Liverpool fan, Sam is a Chelsea fan, and JCC is a Manchester City fan. I feel like that is the big takeaway that you would get from this podcast right here. But anyway, guys, go ahead and click on any of their beautiful, beautiful faces as well as mine if you want to go ahead and check out their stuff. Sam, what is going on your channel right now?
Currently doing Barcelona career mode with a few different players. No Messi, no Neymar. They've been banned, and we're wrapping up season 1, competing in all competitions. So check it out.
There you go. And go ahead once again, check if you want to play up against any of us. If you think we're really done with our predictions and you know better, go ahead, join Sam's league right here, and the links will be down below with the code and all that goody goodness. Go ahead and get that going. And JCC, what is going on with you right now, man?
We are into, at this point, at the time of this video being released, the final season of FIFA 16 VFL. So some competitive pro clubs going for the Champions League and League Double. You know what it's all about.
All right. So go ahead and click over there if you want some VFL goodness. Of course, I'm going to be managing VFL Bolton. This is my first year managing in the VFL, and Sam's going to be getting his hymen broken. His first VFL game is
we're
going to
win
out.
The whole thing.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to win League 2.
Yes.
We're going to go all the way. We're going to win Champions League. That's how we're going to do it. It's not possible, but we're going to do it. And, of course, you can go ahead and click on my face at any time. We're doing the Manchester United. You guys already know. Thank you guys for joining me. And, yeah, this concludes our predictions. Let's look back on this at the end of the season and laugh hysterically at how stupid we were.
Ashley Williams is going to win the Ballon d'Or, isn't he?
All right, later, guys. Bye.